Miller from PhoneDog.com, and I've got this phone called the iPhone 4. You might have heard of it. I don't know, the hype might have been drowned out today by all the LeBron hype, but I think they're kind of neck and neck. At least in my world, those are kind of the two things I follow. You know, I follow the phone stuff for work. I follow the NBA stuff for fun, the sports stuff in general. And that's not all I follow, but you know what I mean, hype-wise. And I think they're neck and neck. iPhone 4 isn't any good. LeBron, where's he going, you know? So, first day of free agency, I figured I'll give you my review of the iPhone 4. Special thanks to the folks at Best Buy Mobile. I actually went and bought this iPhone 4 at the Best Buy Mobile in San Rafael, California. And you guys know we do things with them. You know, they provide review phones and giveaway phones for the One Paw Bandit in exchange for promotional considerations. You know, us doing these little spots. But I actually went. I didn't get a review loaner for the iPhone, so I had to go buy one. And I was fortunate enough to get a pre-sale order in at Best Buy. Picked it up there. The folks were great. They had me activated and out the door in minutes, literally. You know, I know activation in other places took some time. I can only speak from my experience, but it was a good one. So there you go. Anyway, iPhone 4, is it worth the hype? I'm waiting for it to ring because I'm thinking I can help an NBA team out, right? I'm slow. I'm getting old. I can't jump. I don't have a left hand, but I can play the run and gun, or at least the chuck and duck, you know, like anybody. So, you know, Jay-Z, Mikhail Prokhorov, if you're out there, I don't know if I pronounced your name wrong, but if you called me, I could get the pronunciation right, and then we could talk terms. I just want the mid-level exception. I don't need a max deal. Anyway, iPhone 4, let's check it out. All right, so first off, that one sign on the phone, it's no, it's not Donnie Walsh, president of the Knicks, calling me up to talk contract negotiations. It's a voicemail from somebody else. So don't get excited. Don't get excited. But if the phone rings during the review, I'm going to have to get it. So here's what I can tell you. I've had the phone for a week, and it's better than I thought it was going to be in a lot of ways, frankly. The screen in particular. This whole Retina display, all the hype, you know, the marketing spiel, whatever. And I got to see it at the launch event at the WWDC keynote in San Francisco, you know, not all that long ago. And there was a hands-on press room afterwards. You might have seen the video that I did. And I was like, you know, it's nice. It's not all that great. After having had the phone for a week, it actually lives up to the hype. The screen on this thing is spectacular. It's 3.5 inches, so you know it's not as large as some of the 4-inch plus screens, the Galaxy S, the Evo, the Droid X, the Dell phones that are coming out, or the Dell Streak, the tablet. But it's just the quality of the display. Honestly, it lives up to the hype. So, you know, these are some photos I took in a friend's backyard the other night, and I don't know how well they're going to come through because, you know, it's a video and then it's edited and compressed, and then, you know, YouTube servers deal with it and everything. But really, just the quality has just been great. Yeah, it's just, you know, everything from text and icons looking smoother to, I really notice it on photos and video. If it's a good quality photo, and that includes photos taken with the iPhone 4, which I'll get to in a minute, then it you know, it really shows off to me the you know, the display. And again, with icons, you can kind of tell companies that haven't updated their icons yet versus those who have. You know, the Apple icons like settings and remote and Safari and all those, you know, I just have this smoothness about them where some of the other icons don't quite have it just yet. So the display definitely lives up to the hype for me. I have not had any of the issues with the yellow spots, yellow banding on my phone, but I know some people have complained about them. As a phone, and we'll talk about, you know, not to dwell on complaints, but to kind of go through these things because there have been a bunch of reported issues with this device, and you know, there have been bugs lately with lots of devices. The Evo separation, screen separation thing, but that, as far as I found out, only turned out to be a very small handful of units. And you know, battery life issues with some of the Android phones and whatnot. The Nexus One issues that got me upset a while ago. But when you sell, you know, 600,000 phones on pre-order, and last estimate I heard was like 1.5 or 1.7 million in the first batch. You know, when there are complaints, you're going to hear about them a lot. And so one of the other complaints is the so-called death grip issue, where basically the deal is that people are reporting that when you hold the phone so that you cover up this little area, this little gap between the two parts of the antenna band on the outside of the phone, which is a pretty common thing to do. If you hold your phone, left-handed and you do that, you're covering it up right there. People are reporting that their signal strength drops out. And I've been able to replicate it. It takes a little time for it to happen, but we'll leave it there. We'll see if it happens now or not. Now, I have not had what's interesting is that the first thing I noticed after making a call on the iPhone 4 is that the sound quality was markedly better than the previous generation iPhone. And because I have to buy the iPhone and we don't get a review unit ahead of time, Apple offered us one, but they couldn't say when we would get it. And we know you want to see it right away, so we had to get one on launch day. So you can see the bars are dropping now. Anyway, so this is on the same account that my iPhone 3GS was on, because I had to buy that one also. So same account, using it in the same, a lot of the same locations, my office, my house, my neighborhood, the places I generally go. First thing I noticed was the sound quality is much, much better than the 3GS. And people on the other end of the line, commented on it as well. So even though, so I dropped, like a bar or two there. I guess 2 bars I dropped, but it didn't drop all the way out. But I have noticed from time to time, I'll have no bars where I did have bars, that kind of thing. But I have not had a call drop out on me, which is the most important thing. So, that whole issue does seem to be real. And you can read all about the various things that Steve Jobs did or supposedly did, but it turns out he didn't say to people in emails, that whole thing. I don't know. The customer service, we'll see if there's any backlash on Apple for this one. But anyway, to get on with it, haven't had a problem with that. What I have had a problem with is the proximity sensor issue. So there's a proximity sensor in there, and when you're on a call and you hold the phone up to your ear, the screen dims out. And what I've had, and I'll actually show you this. So what happened to me the first time that I had the proximity sensor issue is that I was actually talking on the phone while I was making dinner. And so, I was doing stuff one-handed and I needed both hands free. So I cradled the phone like that, which, is a hard thing to do with a cell phone. People do it all the time. And all of a sudden, it went into speakerphone mode. And so I, looked at it, I was like, oh, that's, the screen's on, that's funny. I turned the speakerphone off, put it back on, started talking, and like a minute later, right after I kind of shifted my arm, the call cut out. And this happened 2 more times on the same call, the same poor friend of mine. Dude, I'm sorry. And it went on to speakerphone again, and then it dropped out again. And then I was like, yeah, it takes me a little while. I'm kind of slow. But I was like, something's up with the proximity sensor. So the very next day, I noticed on Phone Dog and some of the other blogs, people were reporting issues. And there was a thread in the Apple support forums, pages long. And apparently the problem is that the proximity sensor, something's up with it, where it's more sensitive than it should be, is what it seems like. And so it's supposed to turn the screen off when you get close to something like your face, so you don't accidentally hang up on somebody with your cheek. But what's happening is that it's kind of twitchy, and so if it just moves a little bit, the screen pops back to life, and that's what caused me to basically cheek hang up. Is there a word for that? Hang cheek up? I don't know. It caused me to hang up and mute and speakerphone and all that stuff with my face. It's a real issue. It's really annoying. So the other thing that people are talking a lot about with this phone is the industrial design. This is the first real big redesign of the actual industrial design, the form factor of the iPhone line. Kind of more gradual changes between the original and the 3G, changing the metal back for the plastic, and then the 3G to 3GS, not very much difference at all. With this phone, you still got the touch screen, you still got the single button on the front, but now of course you got the front-facing camera, but both the back and the front are glass. You can see how reflective it is. I got my light on here for the video, and very reflective. Then you've got obviously your camera with flash, which there was no flash on the previous models. And then instead of it, instead of it being plastic on the back, it's glass. And then you've also got the metal band on the outside that's causing so much consternation about the antenna. And so the result with the form factor is that the device is thinner.